Hello everyone and welcome to another video. I'm Tyler and today is the 1 year anniversary for the PS5 in the UK. And I thought I'd make a video talking about my favourite games that was released on the PS5 console in the past 365 days. Now there were a lot of great games that came out on the PS5 this year and I haven't had the chance to play all of them, but I do want to speak about the ones that I enjoyed playing the most. And I didn't want to rank them because I think all the games were great for their own different reasons, so instead I'm talking about them in the order that they were released. And starting things off is of course Astro's Playroom, the playable tech demo for the PS5 that gives you the feel of the capability of the console and the DualSense controller. It demonstrates all that the controller has to offer, from the touchpad and the microphone to the amazing new features such as the adaptive triggers and the haptic feedback. Out of all the games on this list, this is the one that takes advantage of the new controller features the most, which is understandable since it is the whole point of the game to do so. I can't stress enough how much I think everyone should play this game. It's definitely the one you should play first when you set up your PS5. Moving on to Demon's Souls, another great game that fully takes advantage of the DualSense controller's haptic feedback, from rolling out of the way of attacks to igniting your sword in flames. The DualSense Rumble has such a range of vibrations that help immerse yourself in everything that happens on screen. As someone who is a Soulsborne fan but has never played the original Demon's Souls on the PS3, I was incredibly grateful to see such a beautiful remake of the game. As frustrating as it is to die to bosses repeatedly, I was constantly astounded and in awe at how this game looked and felt to play. This is definitely one of those games that scream next gen to me. Next up is Sackboy's A Big Adventure, a great addition to the Little Big Planet collection. When I was a young'un, me and my mates loved playing online co-op together on Little Big Planet, and it was memories like that that drew me in to want to play this game. And Sackboy A Big Adventure shares the same childlike wonder and fun that the predecessors introduced, whilst also being something completely different. This time around, Sackboy can run around a 3D world as you try to thwart the evil plan of Vex, who is voiced by Richard E. Grant, with the help of Scarlet, who is voiced by Dawn French. And as a huge Dawn French fan, I knew that this was a must-play game for me. But from one childhood icon to another, I want to talk about Marvel's Spider-Man Miles Morales. There was no other game that I was more hyped to play than the half-sequel, half-spin-off to Marvel's Spider-Man on the PS4. And the game exceeded my already high expectations. Sure, the story is really short and it's basically a reskin of the original game, but the fresh new coat of snow across New York alongside the new powers that Miles brings helps the game stand out from its predecessor and works well as a great origin story for Miles Morales as his own Spider-Man. On top of that, the game looks so much better when playing on both fidelity and performance mode, and the lack of load screens makes this game even more fast paced than it already was. Another great game that felt like it was welcoming you into the next generation of gaming. And of the last of the release games, there's Bugsnax. This was the free game that was available the month of the PS5 release, and I was so glad that I actually took the time to play it. The use of the in-game camera gave me a different experience with the adaptive triggers that I hadn't felt in the other games. And the game is an all-round fun experience. It's charming, the puzzles are fun to solve, and the story has an intriguing mystery for you to uncover. It was a great palate cleanser from fighting monsters in Demon's Souls and battling supervillains in Spider-Man. Bugsnax was a nice soothing ride that was lovely to delve into. My next game isn't exactly a huge title, but I wanted to mention it due to how surprisingly enjoyable I found it, and that is Maquette. A small game that has you solving puzzles and trying to escape from one level to the next. The story is surprisingly deep and I would recommend anyone give it a go. But moving on to the first big game that I played in 2021, and that was Resident Evil Village. I personally think that this is one of my favourite Resident Evil games that I've played. Instead of being focused on zombies primarily, we get a better look at different range of monsters. We have werewolves, vampires, possessed dolls. There was such a good ensemble of villains and creatures to fight. Even though it felt more like a Van Helsing game than a Resident Evil game, I was very happy to see that Capcom isn't afraid to experiment with their titles, and not get tied up on recycling the same game over again. On to the next game, and it's probably the one that will be earning many people's Game of the Year for 2021, and that's Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart. Insomniac has been absolutely smashing it with their games recently. Not only have their two Spider-Man games been incredible, but also they revealed that they're doing another one alongside a Wolverine game. But on top of that, they create a truly redefining game that is drenched in next generation goodness. There's nothing more to say other than the fact that this game looks incredible, the way it feels to play is incredible, and the instant load times in between realities and dimensions is some of the most impressive things I've seen in the game. If this is your Game of the Year, I would not be surprised, and I also wouldn't try to argue with you. The penultimate game is Kena Bridge of Spirits, one of the most prettiest to look at games I've played this year. I instantly fell in love with the bright colours of all the levels, the rot are the most adorable little helpers I've seen in the game, and the whole experience is a great time. I couldn't get enough of exploring this world and uncovering all the stories of the spirits that still inhabit its areas. The story has so much charm to it and I really can't praise it enough. I think the combat can be quite hard at times, but with enough practice and patience you should be able to get through any confrontation. And last but definitely not least, the most recent game I've played on the PS5 in the last year is Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy. This is one of those cases where I went into the game feeling very skeptical. Square Enix fumbled a bit with their previous Avengers game. Even though Avengers isn't a bad game, it was far from what people wanted or asked for. But Guardians of the Galaxy is a great original adventure into the world of the Guardians. I found myself laughing at so many moments and overall having a brilliant time. The combat is fun to experiment with, and the overall game is a definite contender for my game of the year. But what do you think? Is there any games that I missed? Let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed the video, then don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you're new. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.